Patrice Miles remembers her childhood in snapshots. She lived with her mother after her parents divorced.
And I remember pink sponge rollers. She used to always put those pink sponge rollers in my hair. I remember we slept in a twin bed together. And I remember having matching nightgowns. I don't remember the day that she told me I was gonna go live with my dad, but I remember the events, just the emotions. I remember my dad pulling up in the driveway to where somehow I put it together that, you know, this wasn't just a weekend visit.
Patrice and her brother were sent to live with their dad and his new wife.
I don't think a step-parent can really ever truly love somebody else's child like their own. There was always that thought that, you know, she didn't love me like my mom should, like any mother would love their own child, but I think she did the best she could.
Patrice's brother was angry about the change. He vented his anger on Patrice.
And it started out just with molestation, just, you know, a boy touching, experiencing, wanting to see things, and it led into where it was a nightly occurrence, and there was hitting involved, and if I wouldn't play a game with him, he would hit me. And then, of course, you know, if you tell, you know, you're gonna be in big trouble then, don't you ever tell. I feared him for many, many years.
Patrice's dad was a pilot, and when he was home, he was a loving father.
He would read to us every night. He would make these stories up, and he would animate it all, and we loved it. And he would take me on dates. It was just automatic every month. We went on a date someplace. So he was a great dad when he was home.
But even Daddy broke his little girl's heart. Her father and stepmother divorced and bounced Patrice back to her mother. Patrice's mom remarried and had her own family now, so Patrice felt left out and ignored.
There was no curfew. I think they just kind of expected that we would come home, and I didn't. I was into anything and everything. It started out freshman year in high school with just cigarettes. As anything leads to something else, as we went on into high school, drugs started to play a heavy role in our fun, you know, just starting out with, you know, marijuana. And then, of course, you know, it led to other things like pills and cocaine and you name it, we did it. I mean, we were out to have as much fun as we possibly could.
Then Patrice met Lenny. They fed off each other's bad habits.
Drinking and marijuana played a pretty big role when we first met. And eventually, as we aged, we were looking for more powerful substances to make life even better than it was. My heart hurt so bad that drugs and alcohol made everything go away, and it felt so good. I was happy.
Using drugs later became dealing drugs. When Patrice's parents found out, they set rules she didn't want to live by. Soon after, she and Lenny moved in together. But Lenny was an alcoholic.
I remember a lot of nights of him just drinking way too much and just going into these just psycho stages where he would just go crazy. There was many times I had my bags packed, but where was I gonna go?
Patrice married Lenny and became pregnant with their first child within a year. While Patrice prepared for parenthood, Lenny started attending church.
I think after a couple sermons hitting him, finding out that he's gonna have a baby, he decided that he wanted to get baptized, and he did.
Still, he kept drinking. Lenny woke up New Year's Day after a rough night of partying and decided there would be no more alcohol for him. In fact, he even decided to attend a church retreat.
He came back completely brand new. He was a completely different man. I was very scared because I didn't know what was the next step in our life. If all of a sudden my husband was going to change, that was going to mean I had to change too.
Patrice wrestled with Lenny bringing God into their lives.
I think I resented it at first because I didn't want him to be the Christian man that the Bible talks about, you know, taking care of your family and, you know, being the head of the household. I had done all that. So it put a huge divider into our relationship.
With their marriage on the rocks, Patrice agreed to attend the same retreat in order to appease Lenny. What she wasn't expecting was a lesson on forgiveness. She realized the happiness she hoped to find in drugs and alcohol could only be found in Christ's forgiveness. Patrice learned complete freedom also included forgiving those who hurt her along the way.
My mom was there, and I went over and gave her a hug, and I told her that I forgave her for everything. And she started crying, And I just lost it because I never knew that she wanted my forgiveness. I don't remember her ever asking for it. She may have, but I don't remember her ever, saying I'm sorry or this is why this happened. Will you forgive me?
Patrice forgave her family members. Together, she and Lenny vowed to create a better environment for their marriage and their 2 beautiful children by forgiving, just as God forgave them.
The anger that boiled up in me for so long, and the unkind, impatient, unself-controlled person that I was only bringing me misery. And the forgiveness that I experienced helped me to have a life full of peace.